All right. Good morning, guys. Welcome back. We are back. Welcome. How we doing? Buenos dias. Best broker for TradingView. I don't know. I don't use TradingView. What is trading? What can you attach to TradingView? I know you can attach some kind of brokers, but I don't know what. Jacob, appreciate it, Jacob. Morning, guys. Welcome back. Doc, where's the audio? Doc had a panic. Doc had a. I watched the video this morning of him freaking out. He's losing it. If you can connect interactive brokers, then I'd say interactive brokers. Yeah, I love interactive brokers. Interactive brokers is not going to be your fancy user interface, make you feel good when you're trading type of broker, but it's going to get your orders in when you want. It's going to get you out when you want. That's all I really care about. Morning, guys. The annotation tool is called Demo Pro. Demo Pro. Shout out TB. Yeah, you guys see this morning? Lewis Hamilton set the move from Mercedes to Ferrari in 2025. Will likely replace Carlos Sainz. Wow. That's pretty crazy. I wonder where Carlos goes. I'm trying to think. Carlos. I don't think they'd put him in Mercedes. McLaren's set. Maybe he goes to Red Bull. Maybe he takes Perez's spot. That's possible. I don't think he'd go to Aston Martin. I don't think they'd get rid of what's his name? Aston Martin. Would he go to Alpine? Alpine, no. I don't think he'd go to one of the lower end teams. Yeah, but Audi's not in for a while. I don't think they'd shoot him down to Williams. That would be rough. That would be rough if he went down to Will. I don't think he deserves to be at Williams. I think he's still got it in him. They wouldn't get rid of. Yeah, no way they're getting rid of Lance Stroll. He's in there till his dad sells the team. I would say he goes to Red Bull for Checo. That's my assumption. Carlos Sainz to Red Bull for get rid of Checo. Checo goes down somewhere. Checo goes to Williams. Checo goes to maybe AlphaTauri, something like that. All right. Man, am I excited for F1 to start again. Soon. Couple months. Next month, I think. Late next month. All right, guys. Welcome back. Hope you guys are having a good morning. I think Fernando's going to have that. I mean, if Fernando retires, but he's not going anywhere. Okay, I'm lost. Carlos will retire? I don't think so, man. Carlos has still got it. I think he's still got it. He looked good last year. I don't think he's just going to end on that. All right, so welcome back. Hope you guys are having a good morning. Hopefully you had a decent day yesterday. My day, you can watch my video yesterday. Pretty frustrating day, but that's all gone. That's all forgotten about. Today's a new day, new opportunities. We wake up every day. We look for new things. So fresh, ready to go, all cash, ready to take advantage of some after FOMC action. And then today we have some major earnings, major earnings, probably the largest earnings that you're going to have the entire earnings season. Apple, Amazon, and Meta, three of the largest names, and combined, you guys did the math for me in the live stream, the largest market cap earnings day. I don't think there's anything that's going to compete with today's earnings. So major stuff on the after hours. I would personally be careful swing trading anything into that, but just be aware of that. All right, guys. So we'll go over it here in a second. Let's go into the economic calendar. As always, here it is, Thursday. You guys can see this morning we do have unemployment claims at 8:30, something to be aware of. We'll see if the reaction is there. 10 o'clock, manufacturing PMI, so 30 minutes after open. We'll see what happens there. And then tomorrow, average hourly earnings, non-farm employment change, unemployment rate, and consumer sentiment. So a little bit there tomorrow morning as well. So, we got through the big event. Really not much. We got a little bit of action there, sort of that clean pullback that we were talking about yesterday, which we'll go over again. But really not a major move there on FOMC yesterday. Little up, little down, decent down to end the day. But nothing really breaking, right? Major levels still holding on, so something to be aware of. Today at 8:30, we'll see what the reaction is on unemployment. Let me just pull up that earnings calendar real quick. I know we probably already know what it looks like, but we'll go ahead and pull it up just for the last time here, just to make sure everyone's aware of it. You guys can see right here. Today, we have Altria, Royal Caribbean, Peloton, nothing I really care about, Merck, Honeywell, but yesterday, Qualcomm, which we can go ahead and take a look at. But tonight, guys, this is it, right? Amazon, Apple, Meta, the big three right there. Those are going to be massive today in the after hours. Tomorrow morning, we wake up with Exxon, Chevron, and AbbVie. Okay? So something to be aware of there. Big stuff in the after hours. All right. Let's jump right into it. Let's start early, and let's get it done. So, yesterday, we talked about this low volume gap, right? We talked about this low volume gap on the Nasdaq. I talked about how I really want to see the Nasdaq move back to these previous highs and move back to that 20 SMA, right? That's really where I think the market should move down to, because that would be a healthy pullback, right? From this breakout, pull back, try to maintain here, and then continue the upside move. You're not going to just move up and up and up and off my screen, right? We need those pullbacks back to demand, and we need it to create new long opportunities. So I like this, right? This is a nice pullback yesterday, controlled pullback for now. This is healthy that we got a little bit of downside, and definitely, right? This is definitely not, when we zoom out on this 4-hour chart, right? We can see the ebbs and the flows of the market, ebbs and flows of the market, right? You can see how it works, right? The market does not go like this. It goes up, a little bit down, a little bit up, a little bit down, right? It's sort of doing the structure as we move higher. And right now, right, this is no more than just your little leg lower for that next upside move. That is still very much in play, right? Does that mean that's going to happen? No, but it's very much still in play, right? And so this right here, this 17,160 or this 17,000 area is really the spot that I'd like to see the Nasdaq come down to. This would be a perfect long opportunity in my eyes. It's this previous high, right? And right there, what else do you also have right at that level? You have the 20 SMA, literally sitting right at that level this morning. Right on top of it is the 20 SMA, the daily 20 SMA. So if we get a little pullback to here today, I am absolutely going to be watching what happens at this level today, right? I'm not going to be shorting into this area. This is going to be a pretty major, right, 4-hour retest of a previous high right here, right? And that would be a pretty major 4-hour retest and the 20 SMA on the daily 20 SMA. So that's a big boy level there today. Let's make sure we have that on our charts. That's 17,160. Big stuff right there. Below 160, I think you have this 17,050. You have this little triple top right here, right? 17,050, which could be another level to watch below. If you break below both of these, then I think, yeah, things sort of come back down, back to that, like it was that previous CPI low, which I still have marked out on my chart, which is right here, 16,750. But before any of that, all eyes for me are on this 17,160 right here, 17,160 previous highs and the 20 SMA. All right. Now we're going to break this down a little bit shorter term because we can't just trade off that 4-hour chart. We're going to have to watch a few things on the intraday, some shorter term levels that did react yesterday. Number one, the first one that reacted yesterday was this little high right around here. You guys see this little high that came in from Friday the 19th on January? You see this little high that was formed right there? That was around 17,250 right here, 17,250. And that was where the Nasdaq held on late day yesterday, around that 17,250. So that's going to be our first level to watch, right? Yesterday's lows, 17,250, which was also that little high right there. You can see it's holding on this morning at 17,250. So that's our first level, 17,250 in the short term, right? If you break that, you move down into that 20 SMA. And I am not going to be, unattentive to this possibility, right? I'm definitely going to be looking for those pullbacks and those tests of demands, even as the market sort of slowly moves lower, because I know how major this level is below at 17,160. So 17,250, 17,160, some big levels below. Keep an eye on those. To the upside, we had a very clear rejection that came in yesterday, both at these lows, right around this 17,430, right around here, and up into that 17,470. So what I'm going to actually do here is I'm going to put this whole zone red because I think that whole zone deserves to be red. The reason for that is because you have all of this, right? You have these two lows and all of this yesterday, right? And this was also FOMC highs. So I believe anywhere between 17,430 and 17,470 is looking like a pretty big brick wall above us, right? That is a little bit concerning, right? All up in here. You have a bunch of previous lows, previous lows here, right? And then look at how it turned into highs yesterday, right? And that is exactly the level that we talked about yesterday, and it's exactly the level that we rejected post FOMC, right? We got that FOMC pop and that quick rejection of that level again. So if you're going to long here, right? If I start to consider longs at these demands, I'm not going to want to be, my profit target's probably going to be up in here, right? If I'm looking for a short-term trade, if I'm going to long these lows, I'm not going to be looking for, the ultimate breakout. What you'd really want to see, right, if you don't really want to play these demand lows, right, if you're a little bit uneasy, which I think it's right to be a little bit uneasy of playing these demand lows, if you don't want to play these lows, right, then you wait for this to pop and hold above, right? You wait for this to pop and hold above. So this would really be the really confident long entry with just a little bit of a little bit less risk reward, right? Because obviously entering here, you'd crush it on the longs, right? If you entered here and this thing just sort of rallied again, yeah, you'd be up a lot, right? Being long here. But I think the probabilities, the likelihood of a long working out in a longer term would be if you get a long above here, right? This would really be the spot that would be the really confident long entry is back above these lows and these lows and these highs, right? That would really be the sexy long entry if we can see that happen above 17,470, okay? So you got brick wall above, right? Brick wall above us here, guys. It's very clear. You can see it right there. Be careful of that level. Honestly, any pop into that level could be rejection plays to continue to look for. All right, we can continue to look for rejection plays up in this 17,430, 17,470 level. To the downside, I say we be careful of yesterday's lows, and then definitely be a little bit cautious on the shorts into that 20 SMA below, around that 17,160. All right? So for now, what are you doing? You're sort of right in the middle of this range, right? And your best trades today are going to be to wait for reactions off key levels, right? Look for shorts here, maybe some longs here, maybe some longs here. But, right in the middle of this channel, I'd be careful getting active all in here, right? You're sort of just right in the middle of nothing. So be aware of that. All right, QQQ. Pretty much the same analysis here, right, guys? You can see the heavy, I think it's anywhere. I'm going to put this from 421 to 421.50. You can see it's pretty much identical, right? Brick wall above, all in here, right? All here, all in here. You can see it's around that 422.50 to 421 level. Really heavy supply up in there, right? We can see very much, a previous support that turned into some nasty rejections yesterday. So any move higher into this zone, be careful of those rejections to come in, right? If you get above 422.50, that's where I think you can see more confident long entry above these previous levels, right? If you move above that, then I think you move higher. To the downside, it's the same level here, right? It's this 417. It's that previous day low. It's this previous little high right there that held on yesterday around that 417, something to be watching today. Now, if you get a move lower under 417 today, I believe you are going to complete that downside move, which is what I've been looking for on the QQQ, back into the 20 SMA and around that 413 level, right? I still think you need that move lower, right? So right here, you have that 413 and you have that 20 SMA. If you break 417 today, right? If you do something like this and you break under yesterday's lows, you're coming to 413, right? That's going to be your move. If you see a break under yesterday's lows and you turn it into a rejection, I like that play possibly down to 413, which would be these previous highs, and it would be the 20 SMA. That would be a very interesting trade today for a little bit of a trend continuation. To the downside, this just looks really heavy above for me, right? You can see this red zone above just looks heavy, right? And I don't really want to be long back into that area. That definitely could be a potential rejection point today, right? This could definitely be, if we get a little morning pop, right? If you want to short today, this is what you want to see. You want to see a stupid morning pop, right? Just straight out of the gates, really quick, low volume, really meaningless, and then start to see this reject. That's what you want to see, right? If you can get that morning pop that sort of just rips into supply and start to see it get weak, right? That's what you'd want to see. Something along those lines, right? You know what that looks like. You've seen it before. If you've been trading, right? You know what that looks like. That quick pop and then that nasty rejection. That's what you'd want to look for if you want to try to short this zone above. You do not want the market to be down pre-market. If the market's down here pre-market, right, you're likely to get a demand hold early morning. Or if the market's down here, right, you're likely to get a demand hold right around these levels. So you want that pop into supply if you want to look to short that. ES. Oh, that's an interesting rejection coming in on the ES. Whoa. Okay. All right. So interesting rejection right there. I'll talk you through it. But first things first. You still have more downside on the ES to come back into the 20 SMA, right? This is that previous high on the ES around 48.40. This is a previous high on the ES around 48.40. You squeezed through that level. You never came back and had a major retest of 48.40, right? You never came back down and had a major retest of this previous breakout point. So this is the break and retest, right? The market is likely to retest breakout levels. It doesn't happen, sometimes it doesn't happen right away, right? This has been a few weeks, but eventually it will come back and retest that level, right? And so I still think you might be on the road sort of towards that retest of that 48.40, right here. I think you still might need that before this market can try to reverse. So this is 48.40. This is also the 20 SMA, right? And so if the ES breaks under this 48.73 today, right? If we get a break under these lows here today, which is where we held yesterday, but if we start to see this break today and reject, right, I absolutely think this could be a trade today back to 48.40. That's very possible and definitely something that I would be watching today if it sets up, right? Because this is not strong demand. This is not strong price action. This is straight up. Straight up does not hold the market up, okay? This can hold the market up, right? Look at why did the market hold here, right? Because it's this. It's consolidation, it's structure, right? It's demand that steps in and it can hold again, right? But this does not hold the market up. This is straight up action. If you fall back into this area, you're going to see straight down action, right? So this is big today, 48.73. You break under that today, guys, and you start to reject it, I think you're coming back down to 48.40. Now, you can't front run it, right? That's the thing, guys. That's the thing about trading, right? I could have that idea. I could think, oh, man, that looks juicy. I want to trade that so bad. But if I start entering puts here because I can't help myself, right, what happens? This, right? That's what happens. And I lose my money. So if you want to take advantage of this short down here, you can't front run it. You got to wait for it to really start to show, right? You got to wait for that to really start to show there. Do not short into these lows, okay? This is a very, very obvious low that you do not want to short into, okay? You saw it hold yesterday. You're seeing it hold in the pre-market. That's not a level you want to short into. Now, look at this rejection that's coming in today. This is a very, very clean rejection stepping in right now. Previous highs, previous lows, right? Look at all this. And look at that rejection right there at 48.95, 4,900. That's a money rejection right there on the ES. That is a perfect rejection of these previous lows, this previous high, and look at how it just sort of creeped higher and nailed that level. So we are not going to be long, right? If that ES is stuck under that 48.95, even around that, to save yourself today, I'd probably even move this up to 4,900, to be quite honest, right? I'm gonna keep a level at that exact level around that 48.96. I'm gonna keep it there. But if you want to save yourself from some fake outs today, I'd probably put your level up to 4,900, right? Because what this could do, I'm sure you've seen it before, right? It could do a little dance, right? Pop back up. It gets above that 48.96. You're like, okay, let me try to long here, right? And then it goes to 4,900 and then dies. So I think 4,900 is important as well. I'd probably want to have that on my charts, to be aware of. Because 4,900, big psych level, I would assume that you see something of a reaction at that 49. So I'd say keep it on 49 to 48.96. I'd say be aware of this whole zone here. Yeah, that looks a little ugly on the 4-hour, doesn't it? Right? Look at that 4-hour candle. If that does result in this drop, this could be a money short today, guys. Back into these highs, into that 48.40. Just about a 30-point short on the ES. That could be real interesting. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that. That's a really sexy rejection stepping in right now. All right, SPY. Let's go to the hourly chart. Same thing on the SPY, right? Where's that previous high? It's back down to 420, really. I'm sorry, not 420. That's on the QQQ. Back down to this 477. Hold on. Let me get a better chart here for us. Let me go to the hourly. Let me get a little bit more time. So here's the SPY. So the previous all-time highs is 480, which could be something to watch, right? That 480. That could be something to watch there. But this previous high that was, that we're lining up on the ES is sort of that 477 level, right? You can see right here, you have this previous high right here, 477, some of this 477, and that's where it held and moved higher, back to that 478, 477, right? But you do have a previous all-time high here at 480, so that could be the level that this moves down into. You might want to be careful of that 480 previous all-time high on SPY. that could be where it steps up, right? Some possible demand. That's also where that 20 SMA is going to be at if we move lower, near that 480 on SPY. So that would really be my downside target, 480 on the SPY. Same thing here, right? Look at this hourly chart on the SPY. I'm going to delete this level for a second. You can see right here, previous lows, right? Previous highs. I'm sorry, previous highs, previous lows. Look at that rejection. It's coming in right now, right? Now, what do you need to break today to get that downside move through low volume? I think around that 483 to 482, let's call it like 482.70. I would say just watch previous day lows, right? What was the exact low of yesterday? 482.69, 482.70. So that's what I would watch, right? If you get a break under 482.70 today and reject it, you're coming back down into 480, right? If you get above this 485.50 that rejected, you're moving higher, okay? So you got 485.50, you got 482.70, you got the previous all-time high, 480. If you break below this level, if you break below this low from yesterday, I think that short looks really nice today. But you can't front run it. You cannot front run that idea. You have to wait for it to happen. If it doesn't happen, it's not a trade. If you get back over this rejection level from this morning, that could be a reason to look long, right? If you get above the rejection that just came in today, that could be a reason to look long back towards that 488. I don't like doing the SPX in the pre-market, guys, because it just doesn't populate. You know, there's no pre-market here. But, I mean, you can very clearly see the level. 48.40. 48.40. Came right into it. That's the level that's going to have to hold on the SPX. You can very clearly see that, right? You break that, probably coming back down into that, I don't know, 4,800, 47.90, right on the SPX, right in here, towards that 20 SMA, sort of fill this low volume right there. You can see that very clear low at 48.40. You break that today, you're going lower. Okay? All right. Let's go to the IWM's pretty sloppy. I don't really like the IWM. I'm probably going to look the other way on the IWM. I just don't like what I'm seeing here, right? Look at this, right? Don't really like that. Just a lot of consolidation, a lot of nothing. The only thing that I could sort of see here as of right now, after seeing this little reaction in the pre-market, is this little 195 rejection, right? See this right here? See that? That low, these lows, this low, and that low. That's pretty clear lows, right? Look at what it just did, right? It just rejected pretty aggressively. If that stays under 195 today, if IWM stays under 195, I think you move lower, okay? 195. I think that's the big level to watch today on the IWM, okay? All right, so we got 1 minute until data. We got 2,000 people here. Thank you guys for being here. If you could, please press that like button for me. Get me to 1,000 likes. I'd appreciate that. I'm going to take a water break. Water break. Whoops. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. We got about 1 minute until economic data. We'll pull up that ES. Get an idea of what this thing's going to do. We got that clear supply above. We got that very important demand below. Maybe we move this down to 70. Because that is where it sort of moved down into yesterday. So maybe we move that down to around the 70 just to be cautious. We got 30 seconds. 30 seconds. All right, here we go. Here we go. Okay, data is released. What's the reaction? Not much yet. You can monitor them all, Lucas. They all have their own important levels to watch intraday, man. Jobless claims, 224 versus 213. Not much of a reaction here. Looks like if we stay within these levels, all that matters is the levels, man. As long as we stay within these two levels that we're looking at here, that's all that matters. 4,900, 4,870. About a 30-point range. Let's just continue to watch this range. Not much going on here on the data, right? We watched our range right here. We watch our range right here, right? And we just watch for the reactions off those levels. So looks like that's that. We'll take a look back at it and see if anything happens here. But as of right now, pretty muted. All right, let's continue. Tesla. So Tesla, this level is pretty interesting that rejected yesterday. And it's getting stuck under it again today. So it's something to watch here, right? You can see if we go to Tesla, we have this little 192.30 level, which was a previous rejection. It was a previous hold level, a rejection from Tuesday. And it was sort of that rejection level that came in yesterday, barring a little bit of a fake out above it. So 192.30 looks to be a pretty heavy level, maybe up into like 193s, even up to 194s, anywhere up here. Looks to be getting pretty heavy. But you can also see this 187 level holding on very strong. So Tesla's a little it's right in the middle of this channel. You could possibly look to trade this channel today, right? You could look to trade the channel if you want to try to short that 193 area. You want to try to long that 187 area. I would not really be too interested in shorts on Tesla again after seeing the price action yesterday. I think it's sort of just defending this 180 low, right? It's sort of just defending down here in this 180 area. I think, it's just a pretty much monster area of, just buyers holding this up, short sellers sort of taking their positions off. That's sort of what I think this looks like down here, right? This is pretty much just pretty much a wall down here just holding Tesla up for now. You got a lot of these, you got the demand here around 187. You got these lows that came in around 184. And then, of course, you got the monster 180 level below. So, shorting back into these levels is a little bit dangerous, I think, on Tesla. That's what I tried to do yesterday, and I just really didn't get the move. So, I'm going to be aware of that again today, right? Learn from the mistakes. But you should watch this 192.30 level, right? This is definitely, if I go down to the 5-minute chart, this is definitely a level from the previous days, right? If we look at this, if we look at this move, see this right here, right? Look how clean that was. See this previous low that turned into some nasty rejections end of day on Tuesday? That's pretty clear, right? And then yesterday, you had a pretty nice rejection right at that level again yesterday. So if you get back up in there, right, that could be a level to watch for that rejection play. But I would just be careful, right? This demand looks pretty strong. So, if you short here, you're shorting into that demand. If you long here, you're longing into that supply. I would probably want to see us get outside of this little channel here to really get a good trade on Tesla. Without a break of these two channels, you're probably just going to have to trade, right? The channel low and channel high, which is very good trade, right? If Tesla presents that, it's a very good trade. So you're just going to have to be precise on those two channel levels. Nvidia, strong again, man. Strong again. What a beautiful hold of 608. Absolutely perfect hold of 608 yesterday. Missed this one because I was babysitting a Tesla trade, which is very unfortunate, but that's the way it is. So you guys can see right here, you have that 608, an absolutely beautiful demand hold again at 608, right? That 608 is strong. And if you guys notice, okay, take a second and notice what Nvidia did yesterday. Nvidia did not go down at all with the Nasdaq. I mean, it just stayed sideways and now is up in the pre-market. So, yeah, Nvidia still has that juice, right? It's still that dog. So, be aware of that 608. That's a big demand below. If you get back down to that level, I would watch for those longs, guys. There definitely could be some nice scalp longs off that 608. Now, here's really what I'm interested in today. Here's really what I'd like to see. If Nvidia pulls back today, fills this gap, and holds this 618, That would be a very interesting long opportunity today. I would absolutely be watching that. If Nvidia comes back down to these highs, right? See all this high? And comes back down to the highs from yesterday and holds that area, right? And we start to see a little gap fill and a curl off this 618, right? This could absolutely be a level I watch for longs today. If Nvidia breaks back under 618, I do not like the longs, right? I do not like the longs if you are back under 618, right? Because then at that point, you are back under these highs, right? And at that point, I think you'd have to come back down to that 608 demand, right? So 618 for longs, that's what I'm watching today. If you break that, you go back probably back down to that 608. And then right now, the rejection level that's stepping in is a previous day low. It's right here around this 623. You guys see this right here? This 623 right there, right? That previous low right here at 623. This high from yesterday, right? That is exactly where we're rejecting at 623. So be aware of that 623. If you break over 623 today, you probably get more upside. But what I would personally want is a pullback to 618. Did I say 618? 623? 623. Sorry, I don't even know what I'm saying now. 623. If you get over 623, you probably move up into that 628. If you reject 623, right, we're looking for that long off 618. Okay? And if you break under 618, you're moving lower. Okay? All right. AMD. So, what a beautiful hold on AMD. And this is, guys, this is something I would, so we have entered a new thing to watch. I don't know how the best way I can say this. You are starting to enter a period of something that you need to watch. There's something that you're going to have to monitor on stocks on this pullback. All right. I'd be very surprised if someone got this. But if you think you know what it is, let me know. It would be very impressive if you did. There is something that is going to be a common reoccurring theme here soon as the market pulls back. And it's also a key level that's the market's pulling back to, which we already talked about in this pre-market live stream. The stocks that have extended themselves, there's something below that could start to be something to watch. It is the daily 20 SMA again, okay? The daily 20 SMA is going to be something that you're going to have to start watching on everything, right? Because as the market pulls back to that daily 20, right? As the Nasdaq pulls back to that daily 20, right? As you pull back to that daily 20, which is where the market likes to hold as it pushes higher, right? You're going to have to watch if these stocks start pulling back to the daily 20 and look at what AMD did yesterday, right? Look at that hold at exactly that level, right? It was a perfect hold. See, this is what stocks do, right? It's very clean. See this? Consolidation, daily 20, extension, right? Way extended over the 20. But what happens eventually after being extended this much over the 20? Pull back to it, right? A pullback back to that level. You can see daily 20, right? Right here. Holding it, pop. We get an extension over it. What do? We come back down to it, right? And look at what it's done off that level so far. So there's going to be a lot of stocks that probably you're going to have to pull back, right? Look at Nvidia, guys. This is insanity, okay? This is going to pull back to its 20 at some point, all right? There's going to be a time that happens. Tesla is below it. So Tesla, we can tell, is very weak, right? Let's go to, let's say, a stock like Meta. Meta, you can see the last time it got close to it, big pop. It has not pulled back, right? If this starts to happen, then, it's going to be something to watch for, those potential bounces. I don't know when it's going to happen, right? You can't. Here's what I need you to be careful of, okay? This is where you're going to get smoked if you start doing this, okay? If you say, oh, Meta's too extended past the daily 20, I'm shorting it, okay? That is not a reason to short a stock, okay? This is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying look for stocks that are extended over the 20 and short them all, okay? That is not what I am saying here, because this can stay extended for another 20 days, another month, another 2 months before it pulls back. What I'm saying here is that if you start seeing stocks pull back to their 20, Then you watch to see what happens at that level. So the first one that I have for you is AMD, right? AMD is now one of the first stocks that has pulled back to that daily 20 post earnings, right? And you can see it right there. Boom. 20 SMA, bam. Nice hold. Okay? So watch. Yeah, and that's very true. Matt brings up a very good point. What could happen, right? And moving averages change by the day, right? It's a daily period 20 SMA. So every day it's a new level. And so what could happen, okay? What could happen, right? Very interesting. I love moving averages are very interesting. What could happen, right, is that Nvidia continues to do this for another month, okay? And while Nvidia is doing that for an entire month, let me go ahead and I'm going to make this like a nice little blue here. And while Nvidia does that for an entire month, the daily 20 does this, right? The daily 20's coming up, right? Nvidia is doing this, right? And then eventually it's right there, and then bam, liftoff, right? That's how that moving average could work, right? It doesn't have to drop into it. It could consolidate, right? Nvidia could consolidate. That daily 20 can move up, right? Every day a new daily 20, a new period, new moving average, and then eventually they meet, and then bam, liftoff, right? So that's not right. Make sure you don't think about, stocks extended over their 20s, stock extended over their moving average have to come down. That is not the case, okay? All right, anyways, let's move on. I think a good little tangent there, but let's move on. So AMD, 170, big-ass level here, right? You can see 170, 170. Watch for that rejection, first of all. But if AMD can get over 170 here, then I think you move higher, right? If you can hold over 170, I think you move to 174, right? And you sort of make back some of this downside move. So 174, right? 170, those are your two levels. And below that really nice hold of 164.50 yesterday. That was very nice. So I would be absolutely watching 170 today on AMD. Meta has earnings today. I'm really not going to talk too much about Meta, guys. You have this just sort of chop range. I'm not really that interested in it. If it holds this 393, maybe you can get something. But you have to be careful of this 397. These contracts are expensive as hell because of earnings. So just be careful of that. Earnings today on Meta, earnings today on Apple. So I'm going to leave this one out as well. And then earnings today on Amazon. So I'm probably going to leave this one out as well. I'm really not interested in trading the earnings trades. So what I want to go over is Boeing. Boeing is pretty interesting today because Boeing had a pretty nice bounce post-earnings off of this demand low, right? A very solid bounce yesterday off that low, right? You can see right here. Very nice bounce off that low. It looks like it's around that 198 level, right there. 198, very strong hold there on Boeing. Now, Boeing has gotten back above a previous low here, right? Previous low, which turned into a very aggressive high. So, what would I look for today? If Boeing pulls back today and starts to hold this 208, this could be an interesting long, right? I know Boeing long is a little bit questionable right now. I get it. But that could be a very interesting hold on Boeing over 208. I would watch that. The other thing I would watch is Boeing over 217. Okay, this is 217. This is that 20 SMA, right? You can see it right there. If Boeing can hold above the 20 and hold above 217, right, then you look for that upside move. That could be interesting as well, right? Maybe back into this 225, maybe back up even if it starts to really move, you get a move back into that 234, right? But you are right now, you are in that channel, right? That's a consolidation channel on Boeing. Does Boeing have the ability to break out of this consolidation channel, right? Does Boeing have the ability to now hold above? And if it does, all right, if Boeing starts to hold above this 217, it's going to break out for more upside, probably up into that 225, okay? I would probably rather long this move, guys, than this move. Okay, why do I say that? I would rather long a break and hold above 217 than I would long a 208, right? Because if you long 208, you are at risk still of this move like that, right? If you long 208, you are at risk of the rejection at 217 and a drop back to the downside. If you long 217, I think you're in a much better position, right? Because Boeing has cleared these highs. It's back above the 20. I think that's a much more comfortable long over 217. All right. So that's a pretty interesting watch on Boeing there, guys. Very interesting. Yeah, and you got the 200 and 100 right here. This is going to be, very big level on that, right? Look at that. 200 and 100 SMA just sitting right there. All right. What else do I like that I've sort of been looking at? Snow sort of interesting. Back under 200. This could be something to watch of a rejection. If Snow gets back under 200, I don't mind the potential rejection play there. Right? You can very clearly see the previous lows there and a very possible rejection again. I would sort of keep an eye on that Snow 200. But you do have some pretty decent demand down here around 192, so be careful of that. If Snow gets back over 200, could be another long, right? If Snow gets back over 200, could be another long, right? So keep an eye on that 200 on Snow. Amazon, I'm not going to go over. There's earnings today. It's going to be a shit show. Not interested. I'll go to Google. I guess I could go to Cost. Cost is just on a run, guys. Costco. You know where the entry was on Costco, guys? It was either on the break and retest, right there, previous high. Look at that perfect break and retest. Or look at this little 20 SMA hold, right? Another nice little demand hold right around that 677, right around there. That's also that 20 SMA. All right, so what would I look for now? If you're going to long Cost, I'd say a pullback, right? Pull back to that 677. Pull back to that 667 right there. All right, start to pull back to some of those demands before you try to long this thing. Look at how well, right? Okay, this is awesome. This is perfect. This is an absolutely perfect example for you guys, right? I hope you learned something in today's live stream because this is perfection of what we just talked about. Look at this. Look. Everyone look. Stop sleeping. Wake up. See how Costco went straight up, right? And see how it left behind that 20? See the 20 SMA? See how it left behind that 20 SMA? See that? See how it extended past it? Look what it did. This is exactly what we talked about. Consolidation, okay? 20 SMA caught up. Bam. Wow. That's pretty cool. I don't know if I've ever talked about something where literally 5 minutes later, the exact thing we were talking about is exactly right on our screen. Okay, so I can tell you what I'm talking about is legitimate. Okay, what I'm talking about, I'm not spewing bullshit out of my mouth. This is exactly what we just talked about. And thank you for reminding me, some of you guys in the chat. Matt, I think it was Matt, someone that said, whoever said it could hang around and wait for the 20 to catch up. Matt, yep. And Plasma Lab and Matt. Yeah, so you can see it right there, right? That is very possible and something to be watching, right, as this market trends higher. Okay? Keep an eye on that daily 20, man. It's big. Let's go Goog. Let's go Coin. Let's go Microsoft. I don't like Microsoft, but we'll go to it. Microsoft's sort of shit right now. It needs to get out of this little channel. So Google, I think the only level that I'm interested on Google here, because this is just sort of a shit show as well on Google, but this little 142 level, this could be the level to watch on Google. You can see right here. See this 142? If we go to the 4 hour, I might go to the daily chart here on Google. Yeah, let's go to the daily. Okay, so on the daily, right, we can see it's like this 141, 142 area. See these previous highs right here? Right here, right? Previous highs, previous high, previous really strong hold. Google just came right back down into that level. That 141, 140, 142, right? maybe, right, somewhere that starts to hold and potentially fills this gap, right? Very possible. Maybe holds that 50 SMA, very possible as well. And, tries to hold itself up. Now, yesterday, man, do I regret not trading this one, because we talked about this straight in the morning live stream yesterday. What an absolutely sexual 20 SMA rejection on the intraday yesterday. Really upset I missed this one yesterday. This was perfection. We talked about how Google was under the 20, right? And that if it moves higher, it could reject that 20. This was verbatim what we talked about, and I just flat out missed the trade. So that was a sexy one yesterday, and congratulations to anyone that caught that. So if you do move back higher, right, on Google, you're going to want to see us back over that 20 SMA, all right? You're going to want to see us back over that 20. If you can get that move, right, if you can get this move back over the 20 and hold above these highs, that could be a long to look out for, okay? We'll finish up with Coin because there's something that's interesting here on Coin. Not really much, but, something you could watch. And it's around this 131. It's like this 131, 132. It's not perfect here. It could even be down to 130. Could be anywhere between 130 and 131 here on Coin. And it's very clearly 137, right? We know 137 is very clear, right? We see 137 up there. We see previous highs, previous triple top high now. And what else is there? 20 SMA, right? Holding that thing down on Coin. So 137 is definitely the rejection level to look for. 131, 130 is also another potential rejection point. But I think you need to get under this 126 for any more downside. So 126 looks to be the big demand. And really, to be honest, guys, I think I'm going to get rid of that level. I think it's really just this, okay? To be safe, I really think it's just this. I think that's the channel. I think it's between 126 and 137, right? And I think you wait until it does something like this or something like this, right? I don't think I'd mess around with Coin in the middle here. So 137, 126, that looks to be your channel for now. That's how I would trade Coin. All right, let's go quickly back to the Nasdaq. Let's take a look at what it's doing. Pretty much just sitting here in the middle of this channel, right, to start the morning. You got your 17,250. You got your heavy supply above. ES rejected, but, really not giving up here, right? You got your 4,900. You got your 4,870. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's live stream. I hope you learned something. Completely free, guys. Every morning I come here for completely free. If you guys could just do one thing for me and press that like button, I'd much appreciate that. That goes a long way, man. It helps build the channel, helps grow the channel, helps keep me motivated, which is more important than anything, is that I need to stay motivated to do this. So please press that like button. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new. Tell your friends, tell your parents, tell your sister, tell your girlfriend, your boyfriend. Tell them all. Wife, husband, cousin, everyone. All right, guys. I will see you tomorrow. Peace.